So you got Dillon Michael Vakoff. You got Dillon Michael Vakoff there in the cowboy hat. Dillon Michael Vakoff. R.I.P. to Dillon Michael Vakoff because he got shot and killed. September 11th, 2022, Sunday. The Arvada Police Department announced the death of Dillon Michael Vakoff, who was killed in the line of duty. This is 6 days ago, and it's September 11th. It's September 11th, 2022. Okay, and they said that he responded to a large family disturbance, and when he got there, he was just shot to death. So it just seems like a freak accident, a crazy freak accident. 911 was called, and he answered the call. 911 was called, and it had nothing to do with him. The situation had nothing to do with him, but he showed up anyways. A lot of times, it is the first responder, King Supers. That shooter, he's still pleading ignorance and living off the system in Colorado. He shot the first cop that showed up on the scene too. And they said they tried timely first aid, but then he was declared deceased at a local hospital. So they don't go into too many details. But it says that Dillon Michael Vakoff was fatally shot in an exchange of gunfire between an armed suspect and the responding officers in the 6700 block of West 51st Avenue in Arvada, Colorado. Responding to a disturbance call, Vakoff, Dillon Michael Vakoff, the guy in the cowboy hat, not the other guy, Dillon Michael Vakoff, and other Arvada police officers found themselves in the midst of complete chaos. According to the statements, officers tried to separate several belligerent and uncooperative individuals when one of them started shooting at the crowd. Apart from hitting Dillon Michael Vakoff, there was a female victim that was also hit by the suspect's bullet. Her involvement in the incident is unknown, but she got shot. In the statement, the Arvada Police Department said early this morning, officers responded to a large family disturbance. 6700 block, West 51st Avenue. They arrived to a chaotic scene with multiple people in the street. The initial two officers tried to separate several belligerent, uncooperative individuals when the suspect began to fire and shot a female victim. An exchange of gunfire then occurred between officers and the suspect. The suspect fired, striking an Arvada police officer, killing him. The officer was transported to the hospital where he was declared deceased. The suspect had also sustained injuries in the exchange of gunfire, but was expected to recover. A criminal investigation is underway regarding Dillon Michael Vakoff's murder. No further details of the active investigation have been released. So they just had a big funeral for him, and I saw some of the speeches, and I don't know if I can pull them up real quick. But it's very touching. This Dillon Michael, even though I've criticized police from time to time, this Dillon Michael Vakoff, he showed up to the scene because it was a 911 call. And it was his turn in the rotation, right? It was his turn in the rotation. So he was just called to serve. He was protecting and serving. He was doing a good job. He's a person that believed in the system and seems like, from all outward appearances, was a good man. He got shot showing up to somebody else's problems. Somebody else was having problems. He showed up. And he got shot and killed. So I feel like that's a good man. That's a good man. Thou should not kill. We should not be hurting each other. That breaks my heart. That absolutely breaks my heart. R.I.P. to Dillon Michael Vakoff. Compare and contrast though, to Christian Glass, 22-year-old Christian Glass, you're going to hear a whole bunch of, they're going to try to drag his name through the mud just to defend any and all police officers. The thin blue line is bullshit because it's saying that no matter what crimes a police officer, a person with a badge commits, fuck the thin blue line. If you're a good person and a police officer commits a crime, a big crime, you're going to have to arrest that police officer. So he deserves, Dillon Michael Vakoff deserves the funeral, all the accolades, and all the respect in the world. He was an Air Force veteran before this, so he's, a lot of times the soldiers, since they're fighting overseas, they aren't fighting against us, so when they become police officers, they're not always, completely Nazi, fascist, corrupt. So, RIP to Dillon Michael Vakoff and to any police officer who dies in the line of duty, who risks their neck, who puts their life on the line, who risks their neck, who puts their neck out there and gets punished for it. There's a lot of police officers that don't care about stopping crime, not really. They're scared, like the Uvalde police, they won't go in. And then some other police officers like to just shoot 22-year-old hippies. But other police officers show up to a disturbance in order to try to calm things down. So RIP to Dillon Michael Vakoff. He didn't deserve it, and RIP.